Hey guys, welcome back to Alpine Garage Sports. We are in the garage today on bowl selection day, Sunday, December the something, 2024. I think it's the 8th, if I can remember correctly, which it is. And we are talking about the Alamo Bowl for Colorado. Yes. So we talked about a month ago, literally 30 days ago, we talked about the Alamo Bowl being one of the best bowls that we could possibly go to. We're trying to get to a bowl, obviously, for Miss Peggy. And Coach Prime has done an amazing job in the last 2 years to get us to where we are right now, which is bowl eligible. So, quite honestly, any bowl, regardless of what it is, the Wheaties Bowl or the I don't know, let's name it the Wagyu Rice Bowl, or any bowl would be fine. I would be totally happy with that. And in this video, I am not going to be ungrateful about who we play or what bowl we go to, because bowl games are a rarity here at Colorado. So we are going to the Alamo Bowl, which is one of the great institutions in bowl games. I want to say it's like 30 years old, 28 years old, something like that, and has decided at least one national championship that I know of, maybe, possibly. But in any case, in this particular case, we are playing an in-state rival, which we have not played in BYU. And you saw the kind of exclamation points that I put on this video, meaning we're playing BYU, which in the context of things is maybe not my favorite matchup, but at the same time, I called it a month ago, 30 days ago. I made a video. You'll see it in maybe I'll put it down below in the comments. But it's bowl selection, what could possibly happen. And one of those was the Alamo Bowl against BYU. Go figure. So seeing that BYU was potentially going to implode on itself, if that were to happen, we would end up playing BYU, in which case it happened. And there we are. So here we're playing BYU. Now, that said, the state of Texas is awesome, right? And San Antonio in itself is a great place. If you haven't been there and you're thinking about, hey, should I go to the Alamo Bowl? Yes, you should. You should go to the Alamo Bowl. And here's the reason why. Not only is it a major bowl game and it is in a great stadium, but also San Antonio is a great city. And just the river walk in itself is worth the price of admission, which is basically free, right? So you go down there, you eat in a couple of restaurants, you hang out at a bar, you walk along the river there, get involved in some activities. It's a real romantic town. So if you take your loved one with you, it's a great place to be. And just altogether, I think a great venue for a bowl game. And so therefore, if you're even somewhat contemplating, should I go? You should go. It's a great time. Now, that said, it's against BYU. So we're going to be playing an in-state rival, which we haven't played before, been through that. BYU is not going to be an easy game. It's going to be a game that we're going to need all of our starters to play. Coach Prime said our starters will play. So therefore, I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem handling BYU. And we'll go into another video a little later on that. But I still think that it shouldn't be too tough to handle BYU. Now, here's my disdain, because we haven't been too far into this video yet. BYU, I was kind of hoping that we would go to the Las Vegas Bowl, in which we would play the likes of Mississippi State, or not, I'm sorry, not Mississippi State, Ole Miss. I would love to play Ole Miss in a bowl game. Love to play Ole Miss in a bowl game. Like I think any of you have watched this video has said Las Vegas Bowl against Ole Miss would be the game that I would want. I would 100% be there if that were the case. BYU against CU, I'm going to try to make it. I 100% will because I just love San Antonio. I think it's a great state. In Texas, I think it's a great city. I've been there several times. I've been there with my kids and my wife. We have all loved that place. And so I'm going to try to go again. I don't know exactly. I got to make a decision tonight whether I'm going or not. I have not made a decision yet. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some YouTubers like David Talks Buffs and some other guys are going to be down there following that whole thing. But I'm going to try to make it because I like this bowl. This bowl is a great bowl. Be it against BYU, be it against BYU, I still think it's a great bowl. And I think that we will come out victorious and it'll be all good. All good. Let's see who we got here. We got Burl is in the house and Patricia's in the house. Two of my old OG subscribers, I guess you could say. Burl says, what's the date of the game? It's the 28th of December at, I want to say it's 6:30 in the evening. So it's an evening game. Sleeper, you got it right. Yes. VHF says, every time we think it's not going to be rough, we have a hard time. I know. VHF, you are exactly correct. BYU is one of those games that, they won in their last game, but they lost their previous two games before that, which really dropped them out of contention for let's say, an at-large bid or even a Big 12 title. And that was against Kansas and Iowa State, I believe, oddly enough, as weird as that is. Neither team ended up winning the Big 12 championship, but that's who they lost to. And so they're kind of, I want to say, relegated. Relegated is a nasty word when you're talking about soccer, for instance. But for football, you're relegated to the bowls that you can play in based on what you've done. And we lost to Kansas, and that was the decider in the whole thing, really. So at this point, we are relegated to play BYU, where I would rather play an SEC team or a Big Ten team or somebody that we wouldn't normally play in Big 12 play, but we haven't played BYU. So let's just pretend like they're part of the old WAC, right? For those of you who remember the Western Athletic Conference back when I was a kid, and BYU was part of the WAC. And so I'm going to, in my mind, put BYU in the WAC. So we're playing an out-of-conference game when it comes to the title game. Not the title game. I'm sorry. The not the playoff. Dang it, Chris, come on, Alpine. What is wrong with you tonight? The bowl game. I am happy that we are playing the Alamo Bowl. We're going to get upwards of $900,000 in revenue for the program. Not to mention, Coach Prem on top of that with all the marketing that's going to go involved in that over the next 20 days, getting involved in that game. The Alamo Bowl will probably, in its entity, the Alamo Bowl being an entity, right? They're a business. They will never have made more money off of any game that they have shown than they will off of this game. And it won't be because we're playing BYU. It'll be because we have Coach Prime, and Coach Prime will drive up the value of the Alamo Bowl higher than it's ever been. And that is a contractual positive and a contractual, what am I going to say, guarantee that that's going to happen. The Alamo Bowl has no idea what it has in store for it because the viewership is going to go through the roof and we are going to be on an absolute high. And it wouldn't have mattered if it was the Alamo Bowl or if it was the Las Vegas Bowl or if it was the Holiday Bowl. It doesn't matter. If Coach Prime is involved in this bowl 2 years into the University of Colorado, it is going to get an all-time high viewership, and I guarantee that. I don't know how I'm going to back it up, but it is going to be a guarantee. And so good for Good for the Alamo Bowl, good for Coach Prime, good for the University of Colorado, good for all of our outgoing seniors that are going to be able to play in their last game in a major bowl on national television. Good for the recruits that are coming in that have pledged themselves to the University of Colorado, which thank you very much, by the way. All of you pledges that are coming into the University of Colorado, you have come to the right university. Coach Prime aside, all the coaching aside, all the winning lately aside, just the university and the facilities and the venue and the area of the country that it's in is going to make you more whole as a person. Like it's just the mountains have a tendency to just get into your soul and make you more enlightened in your life. I don't know how to explain it to you, but I lived away from the mountains for a while. I grew up in the mountains. I moved away and then I moved back. And I have never been a better person in my life than I have been since I moved here. I'm just going to say that. It could be the mountains. It could be a lot of other things, but Colorado and Boulder and just the Front Range in general have a way of really kind of drawing you in and getting the best out of you. And the University of Colorado, the Coach Prime in it, and the coaches that he has brought in have really done a remarkable job in getting every ounce of potential out of this team. And so I couldn't be more proud of this team and more proud of Coach Prime and everything that has happened in the last 2 years than to go to this bowl game and show up and show out and send off for Shedeur, send off for Shiloh, send off for Travis, all of our seniors. Coach said they're going to play in this game. That's awesome. Like you wouldn't think that would happen in a lot of universities, but in this university, the reverence for Coach Prime is there enough to where these players will be like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to give it my all. We're going to show up like we did in the last game, 52-0 versus OSU, and we're going to give BYU everything it can handle, and we're going to send CU out in the 2024 season with a win against BYU, and we're going to do it in grand fashion, and then the seniors can go on into the pros, and we will follow them, and their teams will be better off for it. Whoever picks up Shiloh and whoever picks up Travis and whoever picks up Shedeur will be 10%, 15%, 20% more profitable going forward because of everything that happened at University of Colorado. And please do not let me be remiss at the fact that this whole thing happened because of our AD, Rick George, and the fact that he had the vision that brought everything together and allowed Coach Prime to start stirring that pot and creating waves and creating lots of marketing pressure, negative and positive, which played out over 2 years and got us to where we're at. Not the marketing got us to where we're at. The coaching got us to where we're at, but the marketing was a heck of a lot of fun, guys. This ride has been so much fun. So much fun. Wow, we got a lot of people in the house. Let me go through these people real quick. We got Go Bucks is in the house. You're relegated to bowls that you have in your rights. Teams and bowls are by your conference. That's correct. VHF Coach Prime has an 0-2 record in the postseason bowls. Hopefully they do better. They will. I don't think this is going to be, the same kind of game. I prefer seeing CU versus Miami. That's what I'm asking for is something exciting like Miami or Ole Miss or, something like that. But, it is what it is. Alpine, good to hear from you, from your analysis. Keep it going. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate that. GoBug says, it's on a Saturday night during the holiday season. Ratings will be high. Of course it will. And they're going to be a little bit, Go Bucks, they're going to be a little bit higher. I mean, anytime Coach Prime is involved, they're going to be a little bit higher. Are you going to the game? Want to watch the lives? At this point, we have until the 9th. The season tickets holders have until the 9th, so tomorrow, to make their decision on where they're going to go. And December is of all of the months of the year for me, December is the most important for my professional career and for my family. So to go to a game in the end of December, is that January? I don't know. It's kind of January. It's like 28th. It's like really close. So maybe I slice off the end of January and I say, hey, or the end of December and say, maybe I'll go. If it were anywhere else other than there in Las Vegas, I'd probably say no. But there is a very good chance I'll be there at this game. And, will I ask for a media pass? I don't know. I'm not a media guy. You guys know that. I'm not a media guy. I think University of Colorado sees me that way too. I'm more of just a genuine fan that wants to go and see the team do well. I want to maybe see the guys for the last time that we have that brought us to where we're at over the last 2 years in person. And I think that's where I'm at right now is I really want to see them in person. I want to see them do well in a bowl game. And, if for some reason something doesn't work out and we don't do well in the bowl game, I don't care. I just want to see them in their last game at University of Colorado. So I think you see the way I'm leaning. Flights and game tickets, geez. I know game tickets aren't that bad. They're $138 for mid seats. They're about $80 for high seats. And they're about $180, $190 for low seats. So for season ticket holders anyway. So they're not too bad. Texas future recruits also that's right. And we're doing a really good job of recruiting Texas right now. So anything we can do in the center of Texas is going to be good. $4.9 million goes to Colorado. This will help plenty of things. Those big lunches, dinners, and cafeterias. I agree. Money used to go directly to the university, right? Now that money is actually funneled into a bunch of different directions, and a lot of times ends up in the hands of our athletes. So any money that we can get from anything, NIL, from bowl games, from post-season bowls, from postseason play, is going to go more to athletes than it did in the past. So that's going to help us. Vegas has CU as an early 4-point favorite. Expect the game 52-0 dominance versus BYU. BYU is a little Freddie. I appreciate that. I do. But BYU is a little better than OSU. So I will say that. What's good, people? Shantae says, Shantae is in the house. Would rather be playing BYU or would we rather be playing BYU Miami? So I guess the question, Shantae, is, do we care to win this game or not? Obviously, we want to win every game we're in. The Miami game would draw more eyes, even though Coach Prime is going to draw a lot of eyes to this game. If it were CU versus Miami, it would be on a totally different level. If it were CU versus Ole Miss, it would be on a totally different level. Then it would be playing BYU, which probably has, and I'm just going to guess at this, right? BYU not being number 8 in the country, which they were 3 weeks ago, has a yawn factor of 100. Okay, so who wants to watch BYU when they're not good? Nobody wants to watch them except for people in like Northwest Utah, right? It's when they're good, they pull a lot of viewership. When they're bad, they don't pull any. So it's different than most other teams. And this is coming from a guy from the Four Corners area of the universe, which is New Mexico, Colorado, Utah, and Arizona. I'm from literally almost the dead center of that area, right? And lived in Colorado for a really long time. So I can tell you that BYU has a distinctness of 30, 40 years ago, but lately not so much. Okay, so to draw Miami versus BYU, completely different thing. I'm just going to say that right now. Totally different. We don't have that option, so it doesn't matter. Let's see. VHF says they were contractually obligated to take Colorado and BYU for the Alamo Bowl. That's correct. But this bowl pays good. It does. It pays very, very good. We are very lucky to have this game. Very lucky. Will our new recruits be able to participate in practices leading up to the bowl game? Yes, if they're eligible to practice, they will be able to practice. They won't be able to play, but they will be able to practice. We should see them based on the fact that Bucky films everything. Hopefully, we'll see them in play over the next few weeks before we get to the bowl game. Chris, thank you for supporting the young men at the university. Respect. I appreciate that too. VHF BYU is a physical team with a lot of older players ranked higher than Colorado. They will not be a cakewalk for either team. That is true. They are on a decline though. Now, granted, give it a few weeks and have them heal, and maybe they're back to their old prowess. But you're right. I mean, they're much more mature guys. These folks at BYU typically engage in school, then go on a mission for a few years, and then come back to finish school. So a lot of the players that play at BYU are either seniors or graduate students playing for BYU. And so they are much older, much more mature, much bigger. And that's why seasonally they can be world beaters. And this season, they're world beaters. Now, lately, they haven't been as good as they have been. So, there's that. Colorado is who we are. We know who we are. And if we play our starters, like Coach Prime said, our starters will play, then there's no reason why we can't win this game. I truly feel like we could win this game. And it's not going to be on the level of OSU, but I do believe that we could win by a couple of touchdowns against BYU. Go Buck says every Big 12 team gets a cut from the bowl game. They will lose money as far as payout. I think that's true. TYB says, get Miss Peggy a large sombrero with lights on it. We need lights on that sombrero, guys. What are we talking about? Sombreros are good. Sombreros with lights are better. If Peggy had one of those on, I think we'd be in business here. I'm thinking about driving down from Seattle for the game. Wow. So unspoken PNW, that's Pacific Northwest. For those of you who don't know what PNW is, that would be awesome. If you do come down, you'd have to go the long way and come down I-25 to Raton. And if you do, look me up and I will, who knows, maybe I'll drive down with you. That sounds like a lot of fun. I love road trips, but San Antonio is a long way from Colorado. BYU is a highly physical team. Colorado can win this game. I agree. Caught on camera says, wow, that would be a good drive. I made that drive from Seattle to Colorado in 2019. I bought a Bronco, which I'm looking at right here. It's right in front of me right here. And I bought that from a guy in Seattle. I flew out in the middle of the winter and I drove it back on a U-Haul trailer behind a giant U-Haul in the snow and made it back here and restored it. And so there it is. And do you guys want to see it? I mean, I'll show it to you. It's on my other channel called Alpine Garage. So if you go to, right now you're watching Alpine Garage Sports, but if you went to Alpine Garage without the sports and you went back to 2019, you'll see this truck with the CU in front of it. Here you go. Hang on a second. So that right there is called Dust Canyon Copper. It's a copper-colored Bronco. And there's my wife's Bronco right there, which hasn't been painted yet. But that's where Alpine Garage came from, as I'm restoring Broncos. But I picked that up in the Pacific Northwest, and I drove it back in a blizzard. And that video shows the whole thing. It shows the blizzard, me driving through the blizzard. I fell and cracked open my elbow at a gas station during that blizzard. And I brought it back, and my youngest daughter was 9 years old when I put her in the bed of that truck and took some pictures with my husky, which is now, I don't know, 5, I guess, when it was a little baby husky about like that big. A lot of memories. There's a lot of memories involved in that vehicle. And you know what? I still haven't started it yet, but I'm getting close. Larry says, greetings from Trinidad. Trinidad. Oh, nice. I'll definitely be watching the game on the 28th. Go Buffs. Jennifer says, it's a long drive. It is a long drive. All bowl proceeds for the games are split equally amongst the conferences. True that. It is. Capital BG says, even joining, thanks for good vibes this evening. My wife is on my damn nerves. I don't know what's going on with that, but I don't want to find out. Best Mexican food in America, authentic? Yes. Says caught on camera. Go Bucks. Says it's awesome to be 9-3 in an Alamo Bowl. I'm disappointed. Go Bucks. You're disappointed that you're in an Alamo Bowl. I'm the same way. Like I'm happy that we're in a major bowl. I wish it was a different team that we were playing. Like when I think of BYU, I think of, the icing that's on cinnamon rolls. It's really, really tasty. But the cinnamon roll is the reason why you buy the cinnamon roll. If you wanted to eat the icing, you would just get a cup of icing and you would eat it. Does that make sense? It's very possible. I have some brisket that I cooked for like the last 10 hours sitting in the cooler in there chilling. And maybe it's just that I'm trying to get to that brisket. I'm making a stupid analogies like that. But in any case, it's a lot of fun. So who is planning to attend the game in person? Shante wants to know who is actually going to fly to Texas and be at this game. BYU is not all that. Brisket, yum, yeah, brisket, yeah. So I smoked the brisket for, it's going on 10 hours. I pulled it off and now I'm resting it for about 5. And I'm trying a new recipe. And for those of you who are on this, which is 93 people at this point, I'm going to give you a little bit of insight. So I have been filming these shows called Cooking in the Buff. Okay. And I've got one of my old aprons that I've been using for a long time says Cooking in the Buff on it because it's a buff apron. Anyway, it's been a joke, Cooking in the Buff. I mean, obviously you guys get that. So I went and I actually did some videos of me cooking in that apron with or without clothes. I don't know what the deal is. I can't remember them all now. Thinking that I would show you guys Colorado cuisine and maybe you could replicate that wherever you're at, whether it be in Atlanta or whether you'd be in Boston or something like that. And I've been holding on to them and I haven't released any of them. But I just started a new channel, which I haven't even really published yet. And it's called Alpine Eats. And instead of publishing them on a sports channel, which would probably not be, I don't know, the right thing to do, I'm going to publish them on this other channel called Alpine Eats. So if you can find that somewhere, I haven't published it yet, but it's out there in the webosphere. Subscribe to that because we're going to be doing a lot of Colorado cuisine, a lot of normal food that you would eat, but just in a Colorado way. I like spicy food, so I spice things up a lot. I grow my own peppers, those kinds of things, and I love to cook. So I thought, yeah, I'll start that. I mean, I've already got like 8 channels right now, and this is one of them, which is the reason why I don't post a lot on this channel. But if you guys decide you want to see something like that, it's called Alpine Eats. It's going to be out here pretty soon, and I will remind you when it goes live if you like to eat and you like to see cooking, that kind of thing. Eating brisket in the bus. Oh, TWB, you're hilarious. Colorado may not be at all either. We'll see this postseason. It would be great to cap this off with a win, guys. A 10-win season, including the bowl game. It goes down as 10 wins. That'll be a great season. TWB says spicy is less than well-seasoned, I guess. So anyway, thank you very much for joining me here tonight, guys. We're going to the Alamo Bowl. It sounds like a lot of fun to me, honestly. And I may or may not be there, but I'm going to try to be there. But it sounds like a great game against BYU, and it actually sounds like a winnable game against BYU, which makes it even more fun because our guys can go out, show out, hit a big win, and end the season with a 10-win season, and it'll all be good. Seniors go into the pros, make a big name for themselves, and then our returning players post portal. Hopefully, we don't get a lot of loss in the portal because we have a good team this year. Guys, seriously, hang out, chill out. Let's see what we can do. We're going to pick up some more portal players to help invigorate the losses that we had with some of our core players. But in the end, this will be a better team than it was last year. And last year's team was remarkably better than it was the previous year. And that season was lights out better than it was the previous year. So you can see this ladder effect, right? We got Juju coming. I don't see him not starting. We have a lot of really good defensive and offensive line players coming in. Our trenches look better than they ever have. We're going to go through that a little later, but it looks like a solid season posting up. And this bowl game will do a lot to invigorate the second signing that we have going on in January. And I think that we're going to ton it with that. Thanks for watching Alpine Garage Sports. We will see you in the next video, which could potentially even be tomorrow. We'll see you in the next video.